This video is going to be how to do the multi-view sketches of shapes 1 through 10 in your sketching packet. You should already have all of your isometric sketches done on every page of your packet. If you do not have that done, go back to the previous video and get that done first and then come back here. We are going to start back on page 1, so make sure you're back on page 1. If you're not, pause it here and get to page 1. With your cubes, go ahead and rebuild our shape from page 1. Like I said in the first video for isometric sketches, up here, this top right section of our paper is solely for the isometric sketches, but now we're moving on to multi-view, so we're going to be using the other 3 sections of our paper today. Step 1 is always going to be labeling our 3 sections of our graph paper. So essentially what our multi-view sketches are is sketching what the shape would look like from different angles or different viewpoints. So the first step is always going to be label which viewpoint is which section on your paper. This is always going to be the same. If you get these wrong and put them in the wrong spot on the graded sketch, I do take points off. I will also take points off of the graded sketch if you do not label the 3 sections. So firstly, this bottom left section is going to be for front view. So at the bottom of this section, I'm going to write front. Then the one above that is always going to be for top view. So I'm going to write top. And the one underneath our isometric sketch is always going to be for the side view. So I'm going to write side. Again, this is step 1 of any multi-view sketch. You have to label these, otherwise you will lose points, and they always will be in the same spot. Once you have step 1 done and you've labeled the 3 sections, the next step is going to be starting with our front view. You always have to start with the front viewpoint. Now, what I would like you to do is hold your shape in front of you from the angle that we sketched it from up here. The reason that we labeled top, front, side on our sketch is to make it easier when we do multi-view to know which side would be which viewpoint. So in this sketch, we labeled this L-shaped side as front view. So we are going to turn our shape so that we can only see this L-shaped side. So I'm going to turn the shape so I can only see the L-shaped side. And these sketches for multi-view, I personally think are easier than doing isometric because if you notice, the 3 sections for multi-view have regular graph paper. It's not fancy isometric, it's just regular graph paper. So these sketches are going to be 2-dimensional. Our lines in our sketch are only ever going to be side to side horizontal or up and down vertical. We're not going to have any of these slanted lines like up here in the isometric. So this is what the front view looks like of this shape. It looks like an L. And that is essentially what we're going to be sketching down here in this front view section. So I'm going to set my shape down here so I can see it easily. And from here, just kind of like with our isometric sketch, our step 1 is to pick a corner to start with and then put a dot on our graph paper to represent that corner. I always start with the bottom left corner of the shape. So in this case, this will be the bottom corner of the purple cube here. And I'm going to put my starting point to represent that corner. Just like the isometric sketching, your dots are always going to be where the lines intersect or run into each other. So that dot is going to represent this corner of the purple cube. And from here, I'm going to do the bottom of this shape first. So this is 2 cubes in length, and from this corner, we're going to go to the right, straight over to the right, 4 dots because it's 2 cubes in length. 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you have your 4 dots added, you're going to connect them all with a straight line. Make sure you're using your ruler for straight lines. And now we left off here. From here, I'm going to go straight up, and it's going to be 2 dots because this is only 1 cube in length. So from where we left off, this goes straight up 2. Now we are here. From here, we have to do the top of this green cube. So from where we left off, this edge goes back over to the left, and it's going to be again 2 dots because this is only 1 cube in length. So back over to the left, 2 dots. Once you add your dots, use your ruler to connect them with a straight line. And now we are here. From here, we need to move on to doing the black cube up here at the top. So from here, we're going to go straight up 2 for the side of it. Now we're here. For the top, we're going to go back over to the left 2. Remember, we're ignoring these little nubs that stick out of the cubes. So if we ignore that, we're just going to go over to the left 2. And then from here, to finish this off, we're just going to go straight back down to our starting point. This would be straight back down 4 dots. And that is what our front view sketch would look like. So this is exactly what the shape looks like from this viewpoint, from this side, from the front. It almost looks like what we did was just outlined our shape. We didn't do that, but it almost looks like that's what we did. Now there is something else that goes into Multiview Sketches, but it doesn't apply to this one. It does apply to the front view when we move on to that. So we're going to skip that part for now and then move on to front view and I'll explain it there. Now this is the trickiest part for most students, is learning how to turn the shape to get to the next viewpoint correctly. So everyone needs to have their shape in front of them, just like this, with the front viewpoint actually on top so you can see the front viewpoint. And from the front viewpoint, we're going to move on to doing the top next. So from here, to get from front view to turn it to top view, you're going to turn it towards yourself, just like this. I'm going to do that again. So again, this is where we started for front view. And to get to top view, you turn it towards yourself. And this is what our top view looks like. This is what this shape looks like if we were to look straight down on top of it. So it's pretty much just a rectangle. It's not going to be too difficult. Now from here, you need to make sure that you are lining up your top view sketch with where you started your front view sketch. Let me explain that. With your ruler, you are going to take your, I don't have a ruler in front of me, so I'm going to use the sticky note. With your ruler though, you're going to line up your ruler with the left side of your front view sketch. So I started here for my front view sketch along this line, and I'm going to line up my ruler with that left edge, and I'm going to follow my ruler or my sticky note up into the top view section, and I'm going to make my starting point right next to the ruler somewhere. What we're trying to do is start along the same line here that we started our front view from. If you do not do this and you do not line up your top view with your front view, then you will lose points on the graded sketch. The reason we start with front view is so that we can line up the top view with where our front view is. So once you have done that, used your ruler, lined it up, and made your starting point next to the ruler, we can start with this top view sketch. So again, this top view just kind of looks like a rectangle. And I'm going to say my starting point here is this bottom corner of the black cube. And so from here, I'm going to do the bottom first. So from here, I'm going to go straight over to the right. This is going to be 4 dots because it is 2 cubes in length. Once you have your 4 dots, use your ruler to connect the lines. Then we left off here. From here, I'm going to go straight up 2. Now we're here, and from here I need to do the top of this shape. So that's going to be going back over to the left 4 dots. Now we're here, and from here I'm going to go straight down back to our starting point to finish off this rectangle. So this is what the shape looks like if you were to look straight down on top of it. Now here's the thing that did not apply to the front view. I have a little story here to help you remember this. We need to have any lines on our sketch where there are any cliffs or sinkholes. Let me explain what a cliff and a sinkhole is. So we're going to pretend that we are Blackonian people, and we are these little people that live on these blocks. And what this is a little island that we live on. And we're pretending that we have just discovered this island, and our sketch here is the map of the island. So what we just got done doing is drawing the outline of our island. This is our island here. And anywhere that there's a cliff on our island, we need to have a line in our sketch or on our map to show that there is a cliff there. Anywhere we have a sinkhole, we need to add it to our map or our sketch to show that there's a sinkhole. To figure out if you have a cliff, you need to set your shape on the table in front of you so that the viewpoint that you're working with currently is on the top. So I have my shape sitting on my table in front of me so that the top viewpoint is actually on the top. This is what we just did. And then you're going to take your pencil and you're going to run your pencil along the top of the shape. And if your pencil falls down anywhere, that would be a cliff. So my pencil falls down from this black cube down to the green cube. So we would be completely safe as a Blackonian person standing on this black cube, but as soon as we step off the black cube, we would fall down the cliff onto the green cube. So because we have this cliff here, we have to have a line drawn on our sketch to represent where the cliff is. Now this cliff is just right in the middle where the black cube and the green cube meet. So we are going to draw a line straight down the middle of our sketch to represent where that cliff is. Now cliffs are always going to be a solid line. So we are going to draw a solid line going straight down the middle of our sketch because we have a cliff going straight down the middle of our shape. To check for sinkholes, you are going to again have your shape sitting on the table in front of you so that the viewpoint you're working with is on the top. And you are then going to take your pencil and you're going to try to see if your pencil goes underneath any part of your shape. In this case, it does not. Because the bottom of this shape, if you look at the bottom, it's all flat and level. We don't have any holes or anything down here. An example of what a cliff or a sinkhole would look like is if I flip this upside down like this. So now this is what we're looking at. If I take my pencil goes underneath this green cube because there's nothing underneath this green cube. So if we were Blackonian people living on this island, we would be safe on the purple cube, but as soon as we stepped onto the green one, we would fall through because there's nothing underneath the green cube to keep it up. So that would be an example of what a sinkhole would look like. And sinkholes are going to be a dotted line instead of a solid line. But from this viewpoint, from this top viewpoint of this shape, we do not have a sinkhole because it's all flat on the bottom. So we're not going to have any dotted lines for a sinkhole here. So that would be our top view sketch. Now from top view, we're going to move on lastly to our side view. And again, this is the most difficult part, is knowing how to turn the shape correctly to get to the correct viewpoint. So what you need to do is go back to the front view. So this is where we started. So remember we sketched our front view, the L shape. Go back to where we started with our front view. So hold it like this in front of you. And you're going to turn it to the left to get to side view. And if you're ever confused, you can look again at how we labeled the isometric sketch over here. So these two sides are side view, just like how we labeled here. So again, I'm going to do that. I'm going to start back at my front view. This is what we started with. And from the front view, I'm going to turn it to the left. So this is what it looks like from the side. It's another rectangle, but instead of it being side to side, it's up and down. So this is what we're going to sketch last for our side view. Just like what we did with our top view, we also have to line up our side view with our front view sketch. So again, take your ruler, line up your ruler with the bottom edge of your front view sketch, and follow your ruler over into the side view section and make your starting point along the ruler. I'm going to make my starting point here. Again, if you don't do that on the graded sketch, you will lose points. And I am going to say that that starting point is this bottom corner of my green cube. So I'm going to do the bottom of the green cube first by going straight over to the right 2 dots. Then from here, I'm going to go straight up 4. Now we're here. Now I'm going to go to the left 2. And then from here, to finish this off, we're going to go straight back down to our starting point to finish off the rectangle. There we go. The last step is always to check for cliffs and sinkholes though. So again, take your shape if it's not already and set it on the table in front of you so that the viewpoint that we're working with currently is actually on the top. And then to check for cliffs, run your pencil along the top, and wherever it falls would be a cliff. So your pencil should fall here in the middle where my green cube falls down to the black cube. So again, that is going to be perfectly in the middle of our shape or in the middle of our sketch. And because it's a cliff, it'll be a solid line. So I'm going to draw a solid line straight through the middle of the sketch. Then we have to check for sinkholes, see if your pencil slides underneath the shape at all, which it does not because the bottom here is all flat and level. All of the cubes are supported. So we don't have a sinkhole here. So this would be the completed multi-view sketch for page 1. When you are done with it, go ahead and flip to page 2 and we'll move on to page 2. All right, page 2, go ahead and pause here and rebuild this shape. Okay, step 1 for multi-view is always going to be label the top, front, and side on your paper. Remember, this bottom left one is always going to be front. The one above it is always top. And the one underneath isometric is always side. We always start with our front view sketch first. So hold your shape from the angle that we sketched it from for our isometric so that we can see how we labeled it to help us figure out what front view is. So front view should be these 3 sides of our shape. So I'm going to turn it so that I can only see those 3 sides. This is what our front view looks like for this shape. It's just a wide rectangle. So again, I'm going to come down here to the front view section, and then you can start anywhere, make your starting point anywhere. I'm going to start it here, and I'm going to say that that starting point represents this corner of the orange cube. From here, I'm going to do the bottom of this viewpoint, and that would be going straight over to the right 6 dots because this is 3 cubes. Once you have your 6 dots, make sure you count carefully, and then use your ruler to connect them with a straight line. Then from here, we're going to go straight up to, then the top of our rectangle goes back over to the left 6. And to finish off our rectangle, straight back down to our starting point. So this is what the viewpoint looks like. Once you have done the sketch, you have to check for cliffs and sinkholes. So again, have your shape sitting on the table in front of you so that this viewpoint's actually on the top. And then to check for cliffs, run your pencil along the top of it, and anywhere your pencil falls would be a cliff. So your pencil should fall 2 different places for this one. It should fall where the orange falls down to the black cube, as well as where the red falls down to the black cube. So we need 2 solid lines where these cliffs are. And on our sketch, they would be here and here. Right here is essentially where the orange and the black cube meet, where the cliff is, and here is where the red and the black cube meet, where that cliff is. Then we need to check for sinkholes, and we don't have any for this one because it is all flat and level on the bottom. All of the cubes are supported. That would be front view. Remember to turn it to get to top view. From front view, you turn it towards yourself. I'll do it one more time. This was front view, and then you turn it towards yourself to get to top view. So we kind of have an arch shape here for our top view. Remember, when you move on to top view, you need to take your ruler, line it up with the left-hand side of your front view sketch, and follow your ruler up into the top view and make your starting point next to the ruler. I'm going to say that that starting point is this corner of my orange cube. So from here, I'm going to go to the right 2. Now I'm here, and from here I'm going to go straight up 2. Then I'm going to go to the right 2. And from here down 2. Then right 2. Then straight up 4. And then left 6. And then straight down 4. So that is our top view sketch, but we have to check for cliffs and sinkholes. So have the shape sitting on the table in front of you so the viewpoint's actually on the top. Run your pencil along the top of it to check for cliffs. And your pencil shouldn't be falling anywhere because it's all flat on the top. So we don't have any cliffs. And then see if your pencil slides underneath the shape anywhere, which it does not because the bottom is all flat and level as well. So we don't have any cliffs or sinkholes for this one. So this is our finished top view. And then for side view, remember you have to start back at the front view. So again, this is where we started. This is our front view. And to turn it to get to side view, you turn it to the left and this would be side view. So again, I'm going to do that from front view. I turn it to the left to get to side view. So we have another rectangle here. Let's start with our side view. Remember to take your ruler, line up your ruler with the bottom edge of your front view sketch, follow the ruler over into the side view section and make your starting point next to it. I'm going to say that that point is this corner of the red cube. So I'm going to do the bottom of this first. I'm going to go to the right to the right 4 because it's 2 cubes in length. Then from here straight up 2. Then to the left 2. And then straight down 2. Then we have to check for cliffs and sinkholes. So have your shape sitting on the table in front of you, just like this. Run your pencil along the top. It does not fall anywhere. It's smooth on the top, so we don't have any cliffs. And then see if you have any sinkholes. See if your pencil can go underneath the shape anywhere. And your pencil can actually go underneath this red cube here because there's nothing underneath the red cube. This is just a gap. This would be considered a sinkhole. So we need to have a dotted line where essentially if we were living on this island, we should not cross because it's not safe. So we would be safe on this green cube because there's no sinkhole underneath it. It's all supported. There's no hole. So we're safe on this green cube, but as soon as we would step on the red cube, we would fall through this sinkhole. So we need to have a dotted line where the green cube and the red cube meet because we're safe here, but we cannot pass this line because we would not be safe on the red one. So where they meet is, again, directly down the middle. So we're going to do a dotted line directly down the middle this time to represent a sinkhole. This would be the completed multi-view sketch for page 2. Once you are done with that, go ahead and move on to page 3. This is page 3. First step, label top, front, side. We have front down here, top up here, side down here. Always start with front view. Hold the shape like we sketched it for isometric and look at what we labeled as front view. So we have 3 sides labeled as front view. You can only see the front side. This is what our front viewpoint looks like for this shape. We have another kind of L shape here. So for front view, we are going to pick a starting point and mark it. I'm going to say that represents this corner here. I'm going to do the bottom first, so I'm going to go to the right 6. And from here, straight up 2. Then from here to the left 4. And from here straight up 2. Then to the left 2. And then straight back down to our starting point, 4 dots. So here's our L-shaped front view. Then we have to check for cliffs and sinkholes. Set it on your table in front of you like this. Run your pencil along the top of it. Anywhere your pencil falls would be cliff. So we do have a cliff here from the green down to the purple, as well as from this dark green down to the black. So we have two solid lines for cliffs here, so where the green and the purple meet and where the green and the black meet. So that would be here and here. Then for sinkholes, no, it's all flat and level on the bottom, so we don't have any sinkholes. Front view, we're going to go to top view, so I'm going to turn it towards myself. This is what top view looks like. We need to line up our ruler with our front view and follow it up to top view so we know where to start. I'm going to say that's this corner here. I'm going to do the bottom first. I'm going to go to the right 4. Up 2. To the right 2. Up 2. To the left 6. Then straight back down to our starting point 4. Once we have our sketch, we need to check for cliffs and sinkholes. Run your pencil along the top of it. Anywhere it falls is a cliff. So we have 2 cliffs on either side of this black cube. So we're going to have 2 solid lines on either side of where that black cube is, there and there. Then check for sinkholes. There are none. So this is our top view sketch. Then from here, we're going to do side view. To get to side view, go back to front view. This was our front view. And then we turn it to the left for side view. So this is our side view. It's kind of like a backwards L this time. Take your ruler, whoops. Take your ruler, line it up at the bottom of your front view. Pick your starting point for your side view. That's going to be this corner of the green cube for me. So first I'm going to go to the right 4. Then straight up 4. Then left 2. Then straight down 2. Then left 2. Then straight back down to our starting point. So that's kind of our backwards L shape. Then we need to check for cliffs and sinkholes. Pencil should fall here where the purple and the green meet. And then it should fall from purple down to the black one. So we have 2 cliffs on either side of the purple cube. So that would be here and here. And then check for sinkholes, which it doesn't have any. So that is our finished side view. And this is our finished multi-view for page 3. Once you're done with this, flip to page 4. All right, I'm going to start moving quicker through these. You can pause or rewind if you need to. Label top, front, side. Front view, L shape. My starting point is going to be the corner of the orange cube. I'm going to go to the right 6 first. Then straight up 2. Then to the left 4. Straight up 2. Left 2. Straight down 4. All right, cliffs and sinkholes. I have a cliff here where the white falls down to the brown cube. Do a solid line there. Check for sinkholes. I do have a sinkhole underneath the orange and the red cubes here. So we would be safe standing on the white cube, but as soon as we step on the orange one, we would not be safe. We would fall through. So where we should not cross, where these meet, is where we would have a sinkhole. So where the orange and the white meet, we're going to have a dotted line where we should not pass. That would be front view. Next, moving on to top view. Turn it towards ourselves. That starting point is going to be this corner. I'm going to go to the right 4. Straight up 2. To the right 2. Straight up 2. To the left 4. Straight down 2. To the left 2. Straight down to our starting point. Checking for cliffs. We have one here from the red down to the white. Solid line there. Sinkholes. We have no sinkholes. Next, side view. Start with front view. Turn it to the left. Another L shape. That's going to represent this corner. I'm going to go to the right 4 first for this bottom, and up 2. Left 2. Straight up 2. Left 2. Then down 4. Check for cliffs. We have one here from the brown to the white, and then one from the white down to the red. That would be here and here. Check for sinkholes. We do have one here underneath the brown one. So we would be safe on the white cube, but we cannot step onto the brown cube. So where they meet would be where the dotted line needs to go. However, we already have a line there because there's also a cliff there. If that ever happens where you have both a cliff and a sinkhole in the same spot, you can just pick whichever line you want to do, either a solid line or a dotted line. Since we already have the solid line there, I'm just going to leave it. So this would be our sketch for page 4. Once you're done, flip to page 5. First label top, front, side. You can pause it here to build it if you need to. Front view would be this L shape. I'm going to say this is the corner of the purple cube. I'm going to go to the right 4 first. Up 2. Left 2. Up 2. Left 2. Straight down 4. Then check for cliffs and sinkholes. We have a cliff on either side of the purple cube. So that would be here, oops, here and here. And sinkholes. We do have a sinkhole here underneath these 2 cubes. We'd be safe on the green one, but not safe on the purple or the brown one. So the dotted line would go here where the purple and the green meet. However, we already have the cliff line there, so we're just going to leave it there. Next we have top view. That's going to be this corner of the purple cube. I'm going to go to the right 2. Up 2. Right 2. Up 4. Left 2. Down 2. Left 2. And then straight back down to our starting point 4. Cliffs and sinkholes. We have a cliff on either side of this brown cube. It would be here and here. Sinkhole, no sinkhole. Now side view. That's going to be this corner. I'm going to go to the right 6. Up 2. Left 2. Up 2. Left 2. Down 2. Left 2. And down to the starting point. Cliffs and sinkholes. We have a cliff on either side of the green cube, here and here. And then sinkholes, we do have a sinkhole underneath this white cube here. So it's safe on the green one, but we do not want to cross over onto the white one. So right here where they meet is where the dotted line needs to be. which would be here. This is our completed sketch for page 5. Once you're done with that, flip to page 6. Pause here if you need to build it. Front, top, side. This is front. I'm going to say that's this corner. I'm going to go to the right 6. Up 2. Left 4. Up 4. Left 2. Straight back down 6 to our starting point. Cliffs and sinkholes. There is a cliff on either side of this brown cube, here and here. And then sinkholes. So underneath most of this is a sinkhole. So we would only be safe standing on this green cube. As soon as we step on the other dark green cube, we would not be safe. So where these two meet, we need to have a dotted line for the sinkhole, which would be here. Top view. It's going to be this corner. I'm going to go to the right 2. Straight up 2. To the right 4. Straight up 4. Left 2. Down 2. Left 2. I'm sorry, left 4. So you include this red one. So here's a better angle. So from here, we go to the left 4 for these two. And then from here, straight down 4. Check for cliffs and sinkholes. We do have a cliff on either side of this red cube, here and here. And sinkholes, we have no sinkholes. Right, side view, upside down T shape, like that. It's gonna be this corner. From here, I'm gonna go to the right 6. up 2, left 2, up 4, left 2, down 4, left 2, down 2, upside down T shape. Cliffs and sinkholes. We do have a cliff on either side of this green cube, here and here. And then we do have a sinkhole underneath the blue cube. So we'd be safe on the green one, not on the blue one. So where they meet is where we need a dotted line. There. This is our sketch for page 6. When you're done with this, flip to page 7. Pause here to build this if you need to. Front, top, side. This would be our front view, another L shape. Start here. It's going to be this corner. I'm going to go to the right 6. Make sure you're counting the dots correctly. Up 2. Left 4. Up 2. Left 2. Down 4. Cliffs and sinkholes. We have a cliff on both sides of the red cube as well as on this side of the purple cube. So we have 3 cliff lines we need. And sinkhole, we do have a sinkhole underneath the red and the green cube, so we'd be safe on the brown and the purple, but not on the red and the green. So if we did have a dotted line, it would be going here where the red and the purple meet, but we already have a cliff line there, so we're just going to leave it. This would be our top view. I like to think it kind of looks like the Mario M. Use your ruler. I'm going to say that that is this corner here. I'm going to go to the right 2. Up 2. Right 2. Up 2. Right 2. Up 2. Left 4. Down 2. left 2, down 4. Okay, cliffs and sinkholes. There is a cliff on either side of the green cube, here and here. And there are no sinkholes. For side view, we have this. It's gonna be this corner. I'm gonna go to the right 6. Up 2. Left 2. Up 2. Left 2. Down 2. Left 2. Down 2. Cliffs and sinkholes. So we have a cliff on either side of the purple one and one where the purple and the brown meet here. So here, here, and here. We do also have a sinkhole underneath the brown cube. However, we already have a cliff line there. So we are just going to leave it. This is the completed sketch for page 7. Once you're done with page 7, flip to page 8. Pause here and build it if you need to. This is our front view. It's going to be this corner. I'm going to go to the right 6. Up 2. Left 2. Up 4. Left 4. Down 2. Right 2. Down 2. Left 2. Down 2. Then cliffs and sinkholes. No cliffs, it's all flat. Sinkholes. No sinkholes, it's all flat. Top view. Another rectangle. That's going to be this corner. I'm going to go to the right 6. Up 2. The left 6. Down 2. Cliffs and sinkholes. We have a cliff where the black goes down to the green right here. And we do have a sinkhole underneath the orange cube. So where we should not cross is where the orange and the black meet, which is here. So we need a dotted line there. For a side view, another rectangle. That's going to be this corner. I'm going to go to the right 2. Up 6. Left 2. Down 6. Cliffs and sinkholes. We have a cliff here where the green and the brown meet right here. Sinkholes, we do have a sinkhole here just underneath the middle brown cube. So we would need a dotted line from the green to the brown as well as from the black to the brown. We already have one cliff here, so we're just going to add the dotted line from black to brown where they meet, which is here. This is the completed sketch for page 8. Once you're done with that, flip to page 9. Pause here if you need to build it. This would be front, another L shape. Start here. I'm going to say that is this corner. I'm going to go to the right 4. Two. Left 2. Four. Right or left 2. Straight down 3. I'm reporting. And check for cliffs and sinkholes. We have a cliff here where the red meets the black. And then sinkholes. There are no sinkholes. To get to top, this would be the top view. Going to be this corner here. I'm going to go to the right 4 dot. And from here, I'm going to go up 4. Then to the left 4. Oh, I miscounted. 1, 2, 3, 4. You went one too many down here. You got to be careful. There we go. And then straight back down 4 again. So you should just have a square. And cliffs and sinkholes. Okay, so we have a cliff here where the black goes down to the red. So that would be here. And it's only 1 cube wide. So it's only going to go 2 dots in. But then we also have cliffs going from the red down to the purple and the black down to the orange. So we're going to do one big line here. Sinkholes, no sinkholes. Side view, adjust these cubes a little. This was our side view. It's going to be this corner. I'm going to go to the right 4. Up 6. Left 2. Down 2. Left 2. Down 4. Cliffs and sinkholes. We do have one big cliff going from the orange and purple down to the red and blue. So we're going to do one big solid line there. And we do not have any sinkholes. This is a sketch for page 9. Once you're done with 9, move on to 10. Pause here if you need to build it. This would be our front view. It's a C shape. Start here. It's going to be this corner. I'm going to go to the right 4. Up 2. Left 2. Up 2. Right 2. Up 2. Left 4. Down 6. Cliffs and sinkholes. We have a cliff on either side of this orange cube, here and here. We also have another cliff from the green down to the yellow, which would be here. And sinkholes, we do have a sinkhole, so we would be safe on the yellow and the green one, but as soon as we step on the red one, we would fall through. So where the red and the green meet is where we need a dotted line, which would be here. Now, top view. That's going to be this corner here. I'm going to go to the right 2. Up 2. Right 2. Up 4. Left 4. Down 6. And it's kind of hard to tell, my thumb was in the way. But down 6. Cliffs and sinkholes. We have a cliff from the green down to the orange, as well as from the green down to the white. So here and here, this one here is only 1 cube in length from the green down to the white. So you only go up 1. And then we also have a cliff here going from the yellow down to the white. So we're also going to have one here. And then we have a sinkhole. So the orange, white, and green cubes are all safe to stand on. But as soon as we move from the green to the black, we would fall through. So where the green and the black meet, we need a dotted line. That would be here. Back to front view or side view. It's going to be here. I'm going to go to the right 4. Up 4. Right 4. Or 1, sorry. 2, I mean. Up 2. Left 4. Down 4. Left 2. Down 2. Cliffs and sinkholes. We have a cliff on either side of this white cube. There and there. And also a cliff from this yellow cube down to the green one here. And we don't have any sinkholes. This is the completed sketch for page 10. Once you are done with the sketches on page 1 through 10, then you can move on to doing the multi-view sketches of the shapes that you made up for page 11 and 12. Once you finish page 11 and 12 and you're completely done with the whole packet, come up to me and have me check it, and I will let you know what to do next.